Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Another bit of help for you guys out there studying IB Business Management. Simple Linear Regression, part of your tools and techniques. Now, also going to link this to section 4.3 of the syllabus, marketing, because I found lots of teachers for some reason are ignoring 4.3 and or they're not making a link across to this particular technique, which is a bit strange, but we'll make it for you. As ever, hope this is useful. Usual starting point for any of our revision videos is simply a terminology. Simple linear regression, it's just a relationship between two variables. Now, inevitably, that's sales over time. Scatter diagrams, correlation, you guys should have come across in your math studies at some point. And the only thing I'd say to you, make sure you're comfortable with the diagrams which show strong and weak positive and negative correlations, and the diagram which shows no correlation in terms of scattered diagram. Just so you're quite happy if they suddenly appear in an exam question, you can easily identify that is positive or negative and there's no correlation, etc., and if it's strong or weak, and be able to evaluate that. But this should be relatively straightforward for you. With the technique, I'm going to use a question from specimen paper to show you possible ways they can attack you on this. So, usual story, you've got time, 2014, 2021, you've got your mean sales data per month, and they have printed in the question the graph basically. Good thing is you do not have to plot the axes. I've seen that cause a problem, both teaching and examining. The axes are given for you. So this is not complex mathematics anyway whatsoever. Now, having a look at it, I've included some of the questions on the right hand side there. On the graph, plot the mean sales of pairs of shoes per year since 2014. On the graph you plotted, construct a line of best fit through the linear sales data. So this is what they're attempting to test you on. Now 4.3, the only real difference, you have to use what's called 3-point moving averages. Now a revision video will be going up on our channel for that in the very near future, so again watch that and make sure you link it across. Now the only difference here is instead of drawing a line of best fit, what the 3-point moving average does, the line of best fit is basically a trend line. And the 3-point moving average, you calculate the coordinates for that trend line. So please, this is not complicated. Do not make it complicated. Look at the number of marks per question. Think logically the time they're allocating for you to complete this. Useful to run through the mark scheme because it is relatively straightforward. They pull a few tricks in terms of attempting to mark you down. So for example, a lot of students, when I teach this, it says plot, so what they will do is plot the points from the data 2014, 2021. They will not join up the points. Okay, you have to show an actual line. Even though it says plot, what it means by plot is yes, put the points on there on the graph, but join them up to form a continuous line. Line of best fit, you guys should hopefully know from your maths, should attempt to bisect the data, i.e. go through the middle as much as possible. And where possible, you distribute the sales data evenly either side of the line, if possible. Now, extrapolation, once you've drawn a line of best fit, which try and be as accurate as possible, I mean, always start from, you can see it goes through the last point, and then with the ruler go back and try and be as accurate as possible to go through. Extrapolation is just where the data actually finishes, and it's 2021. With a line, you just simply basically carry on the line as a dotted line that you're extrapolating. Extrapolation simply means to extend. You're extending the line of best fit. And from that then, off the y-axis, you can go to time, 2022, 2023. Okay, this is supposed to be 2021, the end of. Go up and forecast the sales data for the next year, the next quarter, whatever. Okay. Now, worthwhile you, okay, looking at, okay, the instructions to the examiners and look at how they're aiming, because it's relatively simple, to take marks off you. And if this comes up, pay attention to detail, be as accurate as possible, think about your presentation. The only other thing they can do to make your life difficult is expect you to evaluate your findings. So go for the standard again. You should have come across this in your math studies. Think about the validity of your data to calculate the trends. Think about seasonal factors. Okay, think about one-off events, a steeple in the macro environment. Okay, look at the impact suddenly of COVID. Okay, Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Okay, etc. Look at all those events which suddenly all your forecasts go and your data becomes unreliable. Difference between correlation and causation. Have witnessed that being used. Okay. Make sure you are comfortable with the difference between correlation. Correlation is the relationship between two variables. Causation indicates that the occurrence of one event. Now, the occurrence of that one event may not necessarily have an impact on another event. Just because the sun is shining, okay, ice cream sales will go up. It may or it may not. Ice cream sales may actually increase simply because the quality of the ice cream has suddenly improved, simply because new suppliers are coming to the area. So think correlation, think causation, and difference between the two.